Neeraj is at the Bombay Stock Exchange, as we pointed out, and he has a special guest with him. Neeraj.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for that, Tanvi. Yes, we are. Obviously, everybody knows it's the BSE day. We are live from the BSE, and we're getting some very eminent corporates. We've kind of had this day, Tanvi, when we are trying to get good companies in sectors which hitherto have probably been under a bit of a cloud and are trying to get out. People tend to like such companies and such stocks because they tend to be multi-baggers over the medium term. So infrastructure, EPC, construction has been that one pocket. And who better than Ajit Gulabchand to join us right now on ET Now and tell us about the space, tell us about what's happening with HCC and lots more. Good having you, Mr. Gulabchand. Thanks so much for joining in.
Thank you.
The last 12 months that we've interacted with market men or with public at large, one thing that stands out is that Indian corporates in the last 12 months have gone out and tried to clear up the debt tangle that some of them were caught into. Projects are coming on stream, banks are probably being supportive, companies are going out there, taking up the mantle in their hands and repaying the loans as well. And in the forefront of all of this activity, the construction company, they went through a bad patch because of lack of order inflows and a bad economic cycle. Somehow everybody believes this sector is coming up. What are your thoughts?
See, we are still in a reasonably bad economic cycle. It's only since last year some changes and things have started improving, and I'll come to that.
Sure.
This was created by the previous government, by stopping projects, by bringing down things, and as a result, you had an economic almost collapse in the country. And as a result, the whole infrastructure sector went into a tizzy.
Yes.
Now there are three parts of the infrastructure sector, which is power. Its problems were very different, because the distribution companies were no longer able to pay them because of the subsidy burden they had to carry, and therefore became completely without cash. And therefore they went down. And then of course the cancellation of coal licenses created some problems for them. On the other side is the environmental closure of many idle projects that were in the offing.
Right.
Had stopped that area from coming down. Then in construction, contracting and road infrastructure projects in PPP, delays in getting land, delays in cost, and as a result, many projects were delayed and there were cost overruns. These cost overruns were not paid by the government departments on time.
Right.
And here they were funded in good faith by borrowing from the banks.
Sure.
And when we are not talking about small overruns, normal profits in any construction are about 5 to 6%.
Sure.
These cost overruns are from 10 to 80%, depending on how delayed the project is. Not attributable to this. As a result, you've got yourself into a debt overcast.
And that is changing now.
Now, this is where everybody has tried to look at it. Many companies have almost gone out of business.
Yes.
And there are others who are managing to keep up their ability to do so and being stretched all along. A solution needs to be found out.
Sure.
To some extent, the government has tackled it by amending the Arbitration Act. So frivolous challenges in courts are not possible.
Right.
Faster arbitration settlements are there.
Sure.
So as a result of which, as we go in the future, we are not expected to get too many delays.
Okay.
But nevertheless, it's important that government departments pay up construction companies and make sure that the projects are not delayed.
And that has been the central thing that I read about Hindustan Construction Company as well.
Yeah.
That it is, so I'll quote, people say that you continue to focus on recovery of overdue claims and sale of assets in order to reduce debt as well.
Yeah.
Give us some flavor of what is going on right now on both those fronts for HCC.
Well, as far as the job of getting claims is concerned, when we got into this trouble, we said, the only way to get this is get this money back.
Right.
And there is a process laid down, which goes through the Dispute Resolution Board.
Sure.
There is further challenge in arbitration, then it goes to. So we said, let us focus on this and make sure of our 10,000 crores of claims, get as many as you can quickly awarded in arbitration. So we now have about 3,000 crores of claims awarded in arbitration.
Okay.
And we are chasing them to get it. Government is recognizing how to deal with it. But it's still a process. In the meantime, it has been a very difficult task.
Of course.
To make sure that you keep up with the interest payments and also try to reduce debt.
Right.
As far as pairing out the other assets that are there, see, there are not that many assets with us in the company. We have one infrastructure company which is in roads, whose sale is limited because we sold some of the assets in that. But the others we had to wait because according to the rules, we have to get the COD permission and we can sell only 2 years after that.
Sure.
So that process is underway.
Right.
And then the acquisition we made in Switzerland of a construction company which has almost $1 billion turnover is actually not a non-core, it's construction.
Sure, of course.
So and it helps us to enter the building business in India. So I think so far we have managed it and we are pushing the agenda. On the other side, we've become a leaner organization.
Yes.
We are much lighter.
Yes.
We have reduced costs considerably.
Yes.
And we also have done one more thing. We have been able to focus on our targets for getting jobs.
Which is great internal, sir. Because of paucity of time, I'm afraid I will not be able to dwell too much on that.
Yeah.
But you know what the market, the viewers or the analysts who are listening into this conversation right now would be wanting to know is where do we stand, or where does HCC stand in the process of either the claim collection or the debt reduction via sale of assets or otherwise?
This is it. You know, one of the reasons we've had high EBITs is because our claims have been coming.
Great.
Now, I think that this year should see a little breakthrough in collections as well.
Okay.
As well as we want to raise our turnover because that way you also bring down the percentage of interest that you pay. And, I mean, not the rate of interest, but the cost of interest.
Yes.
And this is what we are up to. Now we are seeing that the infrastructure offtake, particularly the roads area, has picked up.
Yes.
But there has been a little longer gap between announcement of projects and them coming to bid. So we are expecting the delayed projects of last year will start coming on stream during the current year. And I think to some extent we are seeing now government spending on infrastructure, the fiscal discipline that they have followed and kept to their promise has also boosted the feeling that government is serious about this.
Yes.
All right, Ajit Gulabchand there saying that all the delayed projects from last year would get some clearance into FY17, so perhaps, you know, a pickup in cash flows can be expected from this year onwards. HCC in the session not doing a whole lot, but we have another. But Neeraj, it's the countdown, and let's officially bring a close to the day's trade.
So I have to do once, then you, and then me?
No, we'll both do it 3 times. Thanks so much for that, Tanveer. We'll both do it 3 times, Mr. Gulabchand. 38 seconds, but you of course are listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange, but is this the first time that you'll be ringing the closing bell?
Yes. They've called me 30 years late to ring the bell.
Okay, so ET Now and BSE have done something which has made him catch up with the times as well.
Yeah,
so.
though Hindustan Construction was around for so many years, since 1926, it was listed for the first time in about 85.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so about 14 seconds to go, and it's been an exceptional day of trade, and trust me, no better way than to ring the closing bell on the Bombay Stock Exchange with a company which a lot of people believe will be going leaps and bounds once again in the times to come. And if we can just ring the closing bell, Mr. Gulabchand. One more time, please.
Hold.
So,
You have to hold for a photograph.
this is, of course, Tanveer, live from the Bombay Stock Exchange, Mr. Ajit Gulabchand of Hindustan Construction Company ringing the closing bell, and it's been a great day of trade, and it's a great way to culminate this as well. Mr. Gulabchand, just before we wrap up this interaction that we've had on ET Now, I know you're in a silent period. I know you can't talk numbers, you can't talk anything, but do you believe that there are good times in place for Hindustan Construction and the EPC construction space over the next 12 to 24 months?
I think we are looking at a better period than we have seen in the past, particularly even over the last year.
Okay. I know you mentioned that it's not a time to be exuberant or overly exuberant, but is it a time to be cautiously optimistic?
Yes, that is optimistic. We have to be. Things are improving and they are better. However, because it's been for so long, I would be a little more cautious in getting excited about it. But it is exciting because for a long time it hasn't been, and the numbers show that things are better.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining in on at this iconic exchange on ET Now, Mr. Gulabchand. Really good having you. Thank you so much for taking the time out. And Tanveer, yes, the numbers are exciting for the markets as well today. It's back to you.
That's true. The headline says it all. Thanks very much, Neeraj, for taking us through that auspicious closing ceremony of the markets at the Bombay Stock Exchange.